welcome to the Retrade. This is Michael Mayer. I'm here with Julie Burke today.
Hey, good morning.
Guest. How you doing?
Good.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
So Julie is with the NFIB. This is the
National Federation of Independent Business.
Independent Business. And what do you guys do? Let's talk about what you guys do.
Well, we're the voice of small business. We advocate for the small and independent business owner on legislative issues that are either at the state and the federal levels. We've got lobbyists in Washington, D.C. We've got a state director in all 50 state capitals. So when every 2 years we've got the legislation session here, we've got a state director who's keeping an eye on every single bill that's drafted. And then we put that information out to our members, find out if they want us to support a particular bill or if they want us to fight against it. NFIB's been around for 77 years.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're just strictly representing the small and independent business owner.
What? Let's talk about what brings you here today. What are the latest? You said you guys try to help push bills forward. What have you guys been working on?
Well, the most recent bill is the CARE Act and the Payroll Protection Plan. There's some legislation that's gone on with all the coronavirus, COVID-19.
Right.
So there's been there's been 3 different versions of that. We're looking looking for a 4th one very soon, because if anybody's watching the news, all that money that's been out there has all been accounted for. Not a lot of people have gotten it yet, but it's all used up. So we need to get expanded on that.
Okay. So if you guys are, and I know a lot of you guys are self-employed, independent contractors, whatever you are, there's a bunch of loans, grants and stuff out there. We're going to get into details of those, and she can tell us more about them, how to apply for them, and kind of the status of where they're at. So just real quick, let you guys know what we're doing. That was the plan. I'm going to kick over something real quick. You see, we got the Lysol here. We got the hand sanitizer. We are keeping our safety, and I have a gift for all my guests. So I've been busy making masks. And that's my personal one. Here's one for you, Julie.
Oh, thank you.
There you go. So you can wear it during the show if you want.
Not really.
But I can show you them, how they fit.
Nice.
Yeah, they're kind of cool.
Yeah.
So what I did is I did a surgical mask design.
Right.
But then I tapered in. That's actually the bottom there.
Oh, it is? That goes under the chin then.
Goes under
Okay.
the chin, so
All right.
just like that.
Okay.
And it's got the little wire on the nose part up here.
Oh, okay. So it
go around
snaps
the
on there.
nose.
Oh, this is fun.
They work
Okay,
pretty good.
this is what we're looking forward to now, right?
Yeah.
I guess my ears are too far back on my head.
You just got too much hair in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this will probably be the norm for a while, guys. So if you need a face mask,
Nice.
come on
Thank
down
you.
to my studio here at the Family Health CBD in the Beltway Marketplace off of Eastern and Serene, right off the 215. And get yourself a mask. I've been making masks like crazy. Every night when I go home, I'm making masks, and they're here for sale. I think for like $12. Not too bad. Okay, let's get back into the NFIB. Let's go into, let's show people the website here. So they just go to nfib.com, and you can get all sorts of information here. Obviously, they have a new section here, coronavirus. So if we go into the coronavirus section here, we are going to see the small business resources in response to coronavirus. We've got some updates. They got a Paycheck Protection
Program, just PPP.
Right? Let me
Just say
12
PPP
times.
works, right?
Sally
Yeah.
sells seashells, right? Okay.
There you go.
That was a tough one. Okay, so then down here they got some resources and some webinars. Julie been telling me about these webinars. Check them out. So I went into here and started watching some of these, but the real information that was good got into around part 3 here. So let's talk about what was in part 3.
Well, all of them are great. It's just that things change so fast with the legislation that 1 and 2 is a little bit out of date.
Right.
Because I mean, this one here was produced. The ink was still wet on the CARES Act.
Right.
You know, so this was put together, and some people might ask, well, why do we consider ourselves the expert on this to to have all this updated information. NFIB, well, Kevin Coleman is our director of public policy. He actually was in touch with the Congress every step of the way for weeks and weeks in drafting it to make sure that all of this money didn't go to the big businesses or the airlines and stuff. We made sure that there's money that's allocated specifically for the small and independent business owners.
Looking out for us, you guys.
That's right. Always, yeah.
Okay. So what? Let's talk about these things. So there's been 3 bills passed, right?
Correct.
COVID one was the Preparedness and Response Supplemental Appropriations Act that was enacted on March 6th. That had the EIDL in it, right?
Right.
EIDL?
EIDL. Mm-hmm.
Which is the Economic Injury Disaster Loans.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, there's been speculation that some of these loans were going to turn into grants. That happened?
That's the part that was really confusing for me at first.
Yeah, because people were like, oh, they're giving you loans, and then they could be turned into a grant. And then it came out, well, no, some are just grants. And then...
Right. So if I can bring some clarification in that, the EIDL is a loan, and it's a low interest loan, and you do have to qualify for it, but the qualifications are much relaxed.
Okay.
But that's a $10 million loan. No, excuse me, up to $2 million loan for that.
Okay.
And then there's that $10,000 grant.
Okay, this is the one
Okay, this is where it was kind of confusing, for me anyway.
Now, did that come out in the COVID-1 package?
It did,
Okay.
yeah. So what that is that's the, if you can pull up the side-by-side here.
Let's go to the side-by-side.
Yeah, because it really helps a lot. I can just kind of go through that. There we go. Okay, so we've got the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. And then the second phase of that was the family medical leave.
Okay.
And there's some other issues. I'm not going to go into that a whole lot. And then the third version of the legislation was the payroll protection plan program loan.
So there's a lot of information here for all aspects of owning a business, guys, from payroll stuff to paying your rent and all that stuff, but we want to try and permanently focus just on us independent contractors, because that's most of my viewers are going to be independent contractors, whether you're an agent working for a brokerage or a loan officer, home inspector, gardener, pool man. Most of us are independent contractors. So let's talk about how we can help and the information that will help them the most. And
that's one thing that NFIB was absolutely adamant about, because in the past when we've gone through times of depression, a sole proprietor, independent contractor, had no recourse. When their business was slow, They couldn't even get unemployment.
Right.
Okay, but because we were there making sure that the small and independent business owner, sole proprietor, whatever, we've expanded the unemployment benefits, so you can actually draw unemployment if your business is shut down. Okay.
So guys, as an independent contractor, you can get unemployment. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
You've probably heard it.
That's first time ever.
We're going to go and talk a little more about it.
And also the other thing they did on the unemployment rate, is they eliminated the 7-day waiting period.
Right.
Okay, so those are 2 major improvements on the unemployment. But we're all independent, we're all business people.
Right.
We don't want to be on unemployment, we want to work.
Of course.
Okay, so both of these programs do allow for the sole proprietor, independent contractor who has no employees and maybe doesn't even process payroll. Okay?
Right. Like myself.
Like yourself. I mean, you get a commission.
Right.
Okay? So is that payroll? Not technically, but it's included in these plans.
Okay.
Okay? So going back to the EIDL, okay, this is done through the Small Business Administration, and you can apply for it anytime to the end of the year 2020.
Okay.
It's only for people who have 500 employees or less. But that does, as I said, include the sole proprietor, independent contractor, self-employed who has no employees. Okay, so then the loan amount itself is can go up to a maximum of $2 million, and that's based on qualification. It is 3 3.75% interest rate unless you're a nonprofit, and then it's 2.75. So it's a very low interest rate.
Right.
Okay. Now this is where the grant comes in. Out of that $2 million maximum loan amount, you can apply for a grant if that up to $10,000.
Okay.
Okay, but that money that is used that you're applying for the grant has to be used for qualified expenses.
Okay.
Okay, and those qualified expenses include, on the next page there, payroll, mortgage, rent or lease, utilities, accounts payable.
Okay.
Okay. Now the important thing is that you want to make sure that you document where where those expenses went. Then they can forgive the up to $10,000 of the loan that you had gotten for the emergency fund.
So is that something feasible for a realtor like myself or a pool contractor or somebody to do? Because we don't really I don't really pay for a space.
Yep.
I'm with a broker, and I'm actually with a team, the Van Zandt Group, and Jason and Veronica are so nice to provide an office for me to work out of when I want to. Otherwise, I work from home. I do deduct home office expenses because one of my rooms is a full-on office, and I use it just for that. So would that?
Well, the utilities
that?
fall into that,
Okay.
and if you're qualifying for home-based office through your taxes,
Right.
then certainly you'd be able to deduct that portion.
Okay.
But I would certainly check with your accountant or your banker to find out if your entire mortgage might qualify.
Okay.
Okay, I don't have the exact answer on that.
Right.
But any of those things that it takes for you to do, run your business. Now, there's some people that have been shut down and cannot, function normally.
Forcibly shut down.
Yeah, forcibly shut down. That's what this is really for.
Okay.
Okay, so, but if you're able to run your business anyway, you may not need as much and you may not need any, okay?
So when you go for the grant, you don't have to go for 10,000. You could go for 2,000.
Right,
3,000.
exactly. It's
Okay.
just, that's a maximum. That's the
Okay.
maximum you can go.
Because
okay?
so as a realtor, I can honestly say my biggest expense is marketing, right? Getting leads, I'm paying for marketing, and that's where my biggest cost goes. So I don't know, would that be considered another bill?
It probably would be. I'm not the expert in the field, but it probably would be considered that way. As long as you document it, and if you've got the loan anyway, and you've got to pay that.
Right.
Just document how much of that up to the 10,000 went towards those types of expenses.
Okay. Right.
Okay. It doesn't mention anything about cars, gas, things like that, though.
Okay.
Okay.
Mileage and all that.
Yeah. So there's no loan forgiveness on this one except for the portion of the grant. So you do need to pay that back, but the term can be up to 30 years.
That could be really low.
Yeah, and they can also defer the first payment for a year.
Okay.
Okay, so there's a lot of flexibility in there for business owners, even the sole proprietors. Okay, I'm not going to go into all the details. You had mentioned that, these notes are based on what's on the webinar.
Okay.
Everybody who's watching can go to our webinar at nfib.com under the coronavirus section there, and there's 5 webinars right now.
Okay.
Okay. Some of the questions that we've gotten on this is one, it took me a little bit to get clarification about the difference between the loan at 3.75% and the grant. So I hope I was able to make that clear.
So let's just clarify that one more time. You can get a loan for your business up to $2 million, and that can be used for whatever you want. It's a loan, right?
Right.
Okay. The grant portion, up to $10,000 can be a grant. That part you have to use for these eligible expenses: payroll, fixed debts, mortgage, rent, lease, accounts payable, and other bills. And there's lots of information. I'm going to post up a link to these PDFs we're looking at, so anybody can gain access to this stuff and review it, and then also watch those webinars. Lots of information in those.
Right.
Okay, so what else we got?
Okay, so then the third version of this legislation, we'll call it COVID-19 Part 3,
Okay.
is with the payroll protection program loan, PPPL.
Okay. Is that on this?
And that's on the right-hand side, so if you want to go up to the top of there, yeah. So this is primarily focused on people who have employees, and the purpose of it is to keep those employees employed.
Okay.
Okay, so I've had a conversation with a lot of our members recently. Working from home now, I can have contact with more of them through the phone. But you know, reaching out to our 2,000 plus members here in Nevada and asking them how they're being impacted by the coronavirus. And many of them, our average member has around 5 to 10 employees.
Okay.
Even though we've got a lot of sole proprietors who have no employees,
Right.
we've also got a few more, but that's kind of where the median is there. So they're saying, well, I had to close my business. Maybe they've got a brick and mortar
So
store.
right next door we have a hair salon. Next to that there's a nail salon.
Yep.
All closed
Pretty
down.
nails. I used to go there all the time.
And they've been closed
Yeah.
since the start of this.
Right. So then the owner of the business has have to face, well, do I lay them off and have them go out and get unemployment? And those two are probably not the best examples, but somebody you've got who's been working for you for 5 years or so, you've trained them, they know how things work and everything. Before this happened, though, the number one concern that small business owners had was finding qualified workers.
Right.
We were at
Yeah.
less than 3% unemployment rate.
Yeah, everybody's working.
Okay.
It's good stuff.
So it was great, but it was hard for those people to find them, and then you have the expense of training them. So wouldn't it make more sense to have the government help them to keep them?
Everybody in place.
Yeah, and not even to mention the emotional
Right.
aspect of it for everybody
And
involved.
the government's going to be
You've
paying this money anyway, right? 'Cause
Exactly.
they're going to pay it out through unemployment.
Right.
So if we don't have to pay out unemployment, they might as well give this a grant, keep them on the payroll, keep these qualified, skilled laborers that are working for these small businesses employed.
Yeah, totally makes sense. So that's what the PPPL is really designed to do. Again, there are strings attached.
Okay.
Okay. The number one aspect of it is that you have to keep your employees. You can't lay any of them off. Okay. There is an adjustment if one of them does quit or something, you know, but you've got to pay them,
Okay.
even if they're not coming into the office. But a lot of people I'm talking to, they're saying, oh, we're just working from home, you know. But there's some stipulations there. The other stipulations that are attached to the PPPL is that you qualify for, there's no qualifying necessary.
Okay.
You don't have to have personal guarantees or anything like that, but it'll cover 2.5 months worth of payroll. So when you apply for this, you'd have to submit your payroll for the last year, divide it by 12 and multiply it times 2.5 to get the amount that you'd qualify for.
What if you're a new business? What if you open your doors March 1st?
Nada. You do
Not gonna
not
happen.
qualify.
Right.
Okay? Do not qualify.
So you
So you
gotta
have to have your business
For a
prior
year.
to, there's certain dates on there. I think it might be January, might be February, yeah.
Oh, here
So,
it says, been in business since February 15th, 2020, and paid your, no, that doesn't make sense.
and paid taxes on your employees. So you've been running your business since, you know, prior to February 15th.
Okay.
So if you opened your business in March, then no, it doesn't help.
But you have to, oh, here it is, let's see.
Okay. So that's where you average your payroll for the last year. And there's stipulation in there, if it's a seasonal business, you just take a portion of this time of the year last year.
Okay.
Okay, so they're working with you on that. The other stipulation that is pretty important to make the difference between this one and the grant for the EIDL is that 75% of this grant has to be used for payroll purposes.
Okay.
Okay, now that includes benefits and such. Now keep in mind, I'm saying payroll, that doesn't mean, it does not exclude the owner, does not exclude the sole proprietor.
Right.
Okay,
'Cause
so
if you
in
have
your-
a corporation or an S corp or something like that, you pay yourself a salary. you can pay yourself out of this too.
Yes, yes. Or even if you're if you're a sole proprietor and you're just getting commissions throughout the year,
Okay.
take your average commissions from last year, divide it by 12, multiply it times 2.5, and that's what you can pay yourself
Okay.
through this plan.
And this is a loan.
It's a loan that turns into a grant as soon as you show that these stipulations have been
Okay,
met.
so if you meet the stipulations, so if I apply for this PPPL as a sole proprietor, independent contractor, and then I pay myself, I figure out what I averaged over the last 2-3 years, and pay myself.
The last year.
Yeah.
1 year.
Okay, 1 year.
Yeah.
And then pay myself that on a monthly basis, or would I just be able to pay myself
Well, it would only be a maximum of 2.5 times.
Okay.
So that question hasn't been posed to me. I don't know if you have to take it in partial payments or not,
Right.
but I don't think they really care about that.
Okay. So
Because you're gonna produce your documentation to have it forgiven
right.
at the end of it.
And
At
it
the
would be
end
broken.
of June, I believe
Okay.
it is.
And it's just what I would have lost salary-wise or commission-wise in those months that we were
Right.
down. Okay.
Right, right. So the 75% has to be toward payroll. 25% can be used for, again, the same stipulations as the 10,000 one, and that is utilities, rent, mortgage, or what have you.
Other costs of doing
Yeah,
business.
yeah.
Okay.
But the main thing is there that you have not laid anybody off, okay?
Okay.
If somebody quits, then there is a stipulation that was added a little bit later that would kind of prorate it.
Okay. I have another question for you. So I know with the EIDL loans, you had to have a company or business bank account, right?
Yes,
Is that with the PPPL as well?
I would assume so.
Okay.
Not 100% sure on that.
Because that's something a lot of realtors like myself might not have gotten a business account. They just use their personal one because we're not really.
I work real closely with a gal named Sheila Reinhardt. She does my taxes, but she's also a bookkeeper. And I would recommend her all day long. In fact, I do. But she would help those people who are trying to transition from having a hobby that they happen to make money at
Right.
and having a legitimate business. And
Okay.
you had mentioned that being an LLC. I strongly recommend that.
Right.
But I would refer all of that over to somebody like Sheila.
Okay. What else we got in here?
Let's see. Well,
There's a maximum loan size of $10 million in that one.
right. So why would you go with the PPPL versus the $2 million
Right.
loan? It would make sense that if your payroll qualifies you for more money, then that's the way you would go, because you
you're-
can only get 10 free,
Yeah, the max
10,000
grant
free.
on the EIDL
Right.
is 10,000, where the max grant on the PPPL is whatever you pay into payroll.
Exactly,
your
exactly,
employees.
yeah. So we're probably not, going to be running into that with, the people who we're talking to today. But that's there, and this is all providing that they have less than 500 employees.
Some of our
So it's
viewers here are going to be,
only-
maybe a landscaper. They have a landscaping company. They got 7-10 guys out working.
Yeah, yeah,
doing
but they're
landscaping.
probably not going to max out on any of those.
Probably
Yeah,
not.
Yeah, but they are not even qualified for any of this if they have more than 500 employees,
Okay.
okay?
So you guys check out the eligibility and everything online on
Yeah.
these sheets. Check down in the comments about the video here, and you can get all the links.
So that pretty much, once you kind of have made a decision on which one, you can also apply for both.
Okay.
Now, I've been told that people have been advised to apply for the EIDL first, and then apply for the PPPL. And you can use both, but you can't use both for the same thing. No double dipping.
Right.
Okay. So as long as you can qualify for both of them, then you're fine. You're good to go. So this would be a good transition to go to how do you qualify or how do you apply?
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
Let's get into that.
So
Let's go to
for
back
your
to webinar
viewers, that
4,
would be
right?
webinar 4,
so
correctly.
webinar 4.
Yeah.
How to
So
apply for a small business loan.
right. So this is done by the Small Business Administration through commercial banks that are approved for SBA loan, SBA lending.
Okay.
Okay, so they're SBA approved lenders. So you're talking, the major banks primarily. So if you've got a business account with Wells Fargo, Citibank, they're all doing that.
Now each bank is getting different amounts, right?
I believe so.
That's what I was told.
Yeah, they were allocated and in different states. It was kind of divvied out, and so yes, I believe it was Wells Fargo that ran out first.
Yeah, I think they only got 10 billion.
Yeah.
And other banks got like 30 billion.
Yeah.
And I think Wells Fargo was kind of punished because of practices in the past that got them in trouble. So I think they were.
That is true. And there was some difficulty from a lot of our members were reporting that they were having some difficulty getting the loans processed through the banks. And bottom line is, I didn't really mention the interest rate in case you end up using the PPPL loan.
For other things.
Yeah, and you don't qualify for it as a grant. That this particular one that we just pulled up, it was 0.5% interest rate. But but it was changed right at the last minute to 1%. Okay.
That's really low.
That's really low.
Really low.
Really low. So the banks don't like that.
Yeah.
So they
don't make any money.
they were kind of fighting back a little bit.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
kind of like their hooves are in the dirt. So
I'm sure
that was a big part of it.
Their paper costs more than that or something.
Right. But so I can go into how to, and you might say, well, I've been hearing on the news that we're out of money today. It's all been spent.
Which, that's what we've all heard, right? We've all heard that. So the 350 billion that was put out in the aid relief packages, it's gone, guys. It was that fast. Everybody was, obviously if people aren't working, they have time to do stuff.
That's true.
And the big one is to apply for these grants and loans.
Right.
So why would anybody apply now?
Well, that's a great question. Thank you for asking that. Because phase 4 is coming up on the legislation. Okay, NFIB is pushing Congress every single day to go to work,
and that's
get the job done for another $250 billion.
This has taken longer than we had hoped, right? We had plans of April 1st being open, and then Easter, and now it's May 1st, and now they actually I just saw in the news today, they're pushing it back to May 15th now.
Yeah, depends on who you're talking to, and
Different
depends on what
states,
state you're in. It's, one of our, I'm sorry, go ahead, I'll get back to that in a second.
So the point I was trying to get is as this thing keeps spreading out, they're going to have to keep injecting more money into this, because it would make no sense to do it for the 1 month or even the second month, but not, because why keep people in these positions and then coming near the end, you have to fire people and let people go. So they're going to, unfortunately, have to keep coming up with these things until things normalize, right?
Right.
Because it wouldn't make no sense to do what we did in the past.
That's exactly right. So that's why we got involved and interjected on the drafting of this, and we're happy with most of it. But yes, so we've got to get another $250 billion allocated, and it's going to be allocated on the PPPL side.
And we can thank you guys for pushing that, right? Because you guys are fighting for it.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
NFIB guys.
Yeah. So what can we do about that? And that is, one guy, Kevin Coleman, can't be the only one who's representing, 300,000 members all the time.
Right.
He's done it very well. I have to say that. He's done an outstanding job.
That's how many members you guys have, 300,000?
Yes.
That's impressive.
Yeah. We're the largest small business organization in America.
Awesome.
Yeah. And but what helps in addition to that is when people like you and me contact our representatives. Right now, we've got an app that you can put on your phone. It's called the Engage app.
So how do we get this?
You just go to your app store,
go
download
to your app store,
it.
Go to your iPhone app store or your
Either
Play
one.
Store, Google Play Store, and you can get this. What's it called?
It's called the NFIB Engage.
So NFIB Engage.
And the app has the same thing as our little logo there.
Okay.
And so what it does is it connects you directly to your elected officials. from the president all the way down to your state legislators,
Okay.
governor, and everything. Okay,
Okay.
so then you're directly connected, and what we do for our members is we'll draft a letter, say this bill is going to be voted on, or this is a bill that we're pushing, yada yada yada, and you can go in there on your app and you can customize it, or you can just send it and it goes directly to your congressman
To your
or
representative,
your
or that
senators.
representative, whoever.
Exactly, and I do that all the time. It takes me about 2 seconds, and I get responses back.
Nice, guys.
Yeah,
you
it's
hear that?
great.
Everybody
So
thinks they
we
have to pick up a phone
engage.
and get on the phone for a while and wait and leave a voicemail, but you can just do this app.
Just get the app and send it on. So a good example of how that works was Governor Sisolak
Okay.
was part of his campaign was he wanted to get rid of the Electoral College.
Right.
And it actually passed this last legislative session. It passed both the House and both the Assembly and the Senate.
In Nevada, guys.
In Nevada, excuse me, yeah, clarify that. And he was going to sign it, but he got inundated with emails and phone calls and letters, and he said, well, okay, I changed my mind, and he vetoed
veto
it.
it.
So
Okay.
it really helps for us to get active and get involved.
Okay.
So, you know, you're running your business, how do you keep up with all this stuff? Well,
Yeah.
that's what we do for our members.
Do it for us.
Yep, we do
Point
it
out,
for you,
like,
make it out, yeah,
This is why,
right.
and
Right.
then you make a decision if you want to get behind it.
Yeah, and
Okay.
in Arizona, just yesterday, the governor set up a conference call with all of the Arizona members, and there were about 300 of them on the phone, and he's reaching out to the small business owners and saying, what do we need to do to open up our business, open up the state for business now?
Okay.
So they're getting, he's getting that input.
It's going to start with these masks, guys.
Yeah,
You have to wear them. As uncomfortable as they are.
yeah.
Okay, so let's get back to how to apply.
Oh, how to
So-
apply? We
so
have links.
Webinar
Yeah.
4 here talks about how to apply,
Yeah.
and then there's links in this here of applications.
And there's also links in there to show which banks you can go to,
Okay.
okay, once we get this funded again. But the application is in there.
So
Most
if
of the
you-
banks do it online.
Let's go back real quick. If
Mm-hmm.
you don't have a business account, it'd be ideal to pick one of these banks and go open one, right? And you could probably open one online. She's not a
There-
banker, so I'm not going to hold her against her. She doesn't do this stuff.
Yeah, did I do a disclaimer here on the NFIB days? So, but they don't want to do business with somebody if they don't want to do this if
Okay.
they don't already have a relationship
All
with
right.
you. So it's going to be tough.
So if you don't
To
have a
get
bank account, yeah,
You know, you're not. I mean, you can go to the SBA and see, you know, the list of where you can go.
okay, and try.
Yeah.
It's worth
But
trying.
go to your
guys.
bank
It is
first.
worth trying.
Yeah, go to your bank first. It might be a small bank, but it might. They actually are much more effective in getting the funding.
The small ones.
The small ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they're SBA approved.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here it talks about lenders will begin processing the loan applications as soon as April 3rd. So we're past that.
We are, but the key on that was for the regular type businesses, you know,
Okay.
that have payroll and stuff.
Okay.
They held off until the 10th for the self-employed
Okay.
independent contractors, but we're past that date too. Okay, but now they just needed a little extra time to do that. So if anybody came across the date of April 10th, that's why.
Okay.
Yeah.
And here's everything, guys. The information needed for the loan application, documentation of average monthly payroll, average monthly full-time equivalents based on 12 months from April 19 through March 2020.
So those are your
seasonal pays.
940s and 941s if you have payroll.
Okay.
Okay. Other than that, it'd probably be, you know, your tax return would show the income that you had if you were on a commission basis or something
Right.
along those lines.
Okay. Average payroll by category, salary, hourly commissions, vacations, sick leave, group health care, all that stuff. Tax ID, full legal name of each entity. That's not too bad.
No, it's not too hard.
A couple other things here. Ownership information to assist in evaluation of the impact of the affiliated entities. Documentation or any other relief programs you're applying for. And that's really it there for the...
That's pretty much it. It's really not hard to do. It's just if you don't have, if you're not already doing business with a bank that is SBA approved, that's going to be a challenge for
Okay.
you. And the biggest challenge is being able to wait until they fund it, because we're just now getting reports of some people 2 weeks later, 2.5 weeks later,
Getting funding?
getting the money. Yeah.
I did see that, on another note, the stimulus checks, the $1,200 have started to hit people's paycheck or accounts.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Now I haven't gotten mine yet.
I know Maggie's hit yesterday.
Okay.
My girlfriend's.
Yeah. I did look up on the website there. You can go on irs.gov and see where's my check, and it said he didn't know. But then I
too,
searched
didn't
it a little bit. But I'd filed my tax return already, even though I've got until July 15th to pay my taxes.
Right.
I filed my return, and there was something on the website that says that if it's not completely processed yet.
Gotcha.
So that could be a holdup if anybody else is there.
I think my holdup will be because, and this is probably for a lot of people in my situation, a lot of us independent contractors, we often find ourselves paying taxes, not getting a tax return. So we don't really have a direct deposit set up with the IRS in the last 2
So you're going to get a check with Donald Trump on it?
Yeah, we get the other signature there. Well, I guess they're not doing the signature anymore, just going to have his name. Okay, so let's go back to anything else about how to apply?
No, but we've got. We can go ahead and scroll all the way down to the end, and there's some website,
here's
some
that
links.
thing here.
Okay, yeah, I knew I had that somewhere. But there's some contact information. Okay, here's some links here. The application right there, and some other
those the grant
resources. So those
grant application?
Right.
Okay, I'm going to post these links too in the comments.
And then at the very end, we've got the people who conducted these webinars, Kevin Coleman, Elizabeth Melito, and I can't remember the last one. I can't remember what her name is, the other one. But anyway, the ladies are in our legal center.
Okay.
And as I already mentioned, Kevin Coleman, he's in our public policy headquarters. But this email address is info@nfib.org. They're checking that on a regular basis throughout the day to answer any questions that people have.
So that was info@nfib.org.
Correct.
Put that
Yeah.
up on the screen,
Yeah.
right
Got it.
here.
Okay. So we're just trying to help and be that conduit for everybody to be able to get their money. But the main thing is right now is we've got to get Congress to get back to work and do
release
their
this
job,
funds.
approve these funds. I mean, we've got some people want to put more pork in it. It just needs to be just simple and clean.
Yeah.
And let it go to the small business owners, because 70% of all jobs are created by small business.
Right.
Half of the GDP is is generated by small business. You take small business owners out of the equation, and we're going to be in some serious trouble.
Right.
So this is really, really important. We've got to get this funding, and like you explained, if we do this for a month and then stop, or 2 months and then stop, it's not going to do any good, because these people aren't going to have jobs if the business owners had to close their doors.
Right.
It just won't do any good at all. There's other ways that we can get these funds. It's not all about national debt. It's a matter of national survivalship.
So does the NFIB have any insight or, I guess, foresight of, is this going to keep us all working? Is this, are their hopes pretty high that this will get us back running?
It will.
Going?
Yeah. Small business owners are very resilient.
Okay.
They really are. I go out on a regular basis and go to business owners, door to door. I may find somebody at an open house in a neighborhood, or a landscaper who's working, or somebody doing a pool service in the backyard of somewhere, and I'll just go up to them and approach them and let them know who we are and what we do for them. And I've talked to a lot of people who started their business in 2008 or 2009. And I'm thinking, you some tough dude.
Started then, yeah.
Yeah, right? And, so I just know in my heart that small business owners are very, very resilient, and we just need to help them to be able to survive.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So let's see if there's anything else in here we can add.
Do you want to check and see if anybody's got any questions for us?
Yeah, let's see. So at the beginning of the show here, we posted on the Facebook Live. I was going to have Julie in here, and we'll see if anybody has any questions.
You probably would have been notified on that, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No questions for Julie? Okay.
So NFIB is a membership organization. And the cool thing is that we don't have a set membership fee.
Okay.
So anybody who wants to be a part of this, to help with small business owners, that might be your motivating factor. It might be that you want the resources, or you might want to just have the information. Then my job is to get more members.
Okay.
So I would just ask that people to contact me directly.
So how can we contact you?
My number is 702-239-0992.
Okay.
My email is julie.burke@nfib.org.
It'll all be right there.
All right.
All right. Let's. She brought me one more little flyer I want to show you guys. So this is for you small business owners that have employees still working. You are required to have this up?
Yes. As of April 1st, this is part of Phase 2 legislation with the family medical leave that is required through the end of December, that if anybody is sick or their extended family is sick, that they need to take care of people due to the virus,
Blow this up a little bit.
they're required to be paid up to 2 weeks regular paid leave, and then 2/3 of that, beyond that 12 weeks, beyond the 2 weeks, for 12 weeks beyond that, they get paid 2/3 of their normal pay.
Okay.
And that was part of the Phase 2 legislation.
And this shouldn't be too stressful for you business owners because you're all applying for the PPPL.
That is true, but also we don't like that mandate. And I say we. Anytime I say we, that's our members who are setting that. But a lot of our members do pay. If they can, they do anyway, but they just don't like to be mandated by it. But there is an exemption for small businesses with less than 50 employees.
Okay.
If it causes an undue hardship, you just need to say it causes an undue hardship, and you can have that exemption.
Okay.
Okay, so it's not as bad as it could be.
Gotcha. Oh, here we're talking enforcement and stuff.
Yeah. So this is just like your workplace poster. If you have employees, you got to have those up there.
I'll have a link to this, guys, too. So if you don't have this posted up your business, print this, post it up.
Well, not only post it, because a lot of people don't have their business open right now. So email it to your employees.
Okay. And what else do we got here? Anything else? Oh, that's a little bit outside of your jurisdiction here, but just want to let everybody know that NRED, which is the Nevada Real Estate Division, they had paused on everything when they shut their building down, and now they're going to start doing some stuff again. So it says they're all licenses, certificates, permits, and registrations due in May 2020 and beyond must be renewed in the month they are due. There are no additional extensions. So there's been extensions if you had to renew your license, and now anything after May 2020, you have to get it done on time. They're processing that stuff. It's all done online through the Nevada Real Estate Division. And that's about it, guys. So make sure you're keeping up on your continuing education. There's plenty of time to do that right now. And keep your license up to date. Anything else, Julie?
Well, that pretty much covers all the current legislation, but I would just remind people, contact their senators, their congressmen, ask them to pass this bill so that they can keep small business strong.
Download this NFIB Engage app.
That too.
And then do it through there.
Right.
Perfect.
Exactly.
And then if they want to talk to you about joining,
Give me a call.
give her a call. You
Yeah.
have her number up there in her email. Do you have a website that you use that's just you, or just
I don't.
NFIB.com?
Yeah, no, it's just the NFIB.com. But I would ask, friends and family or anybody who don't go through the website to join. Give me a call.
Perfect. Yeah,
Then-
you want to
then
have
I'll make
somebody you
sure,
know
so.
that you can talk to, that you have a phone number to complain to.
That's true too. Yeah.
All right, guys, I think you'll like what they're providing. Check it out, NFIB.com. Again, this is Michael Mayer. This is The Retrade. Did you have something else?
I did. I just wanted to point out one thing is the NRED. That's the old GLVR, right?
No.
Is it not?
NRED is the Nevada Real Estate Division. GLVR was the Greater Las Vegas Association.
I thought it was the same thing.
No.
Oh, okay. The division versus the association.
Yeah.
Okay. So all of you guys all are in the
And we're not GLVAR now. We're LVR.
That's
Las
what
Vegas
confused.
Realtors.
That's what confused me
Yeah,
because I knew they got
changed
from
GLVR
the.
to LVR.
Yeah, I spoke with one of the board of directors recently, and he explained that to me. But I just wanted to point out the difference here of a trade association versus NFIB.
Okay.
A lot of times people will say, my association takes care of that. Whatever association it is,
Right. Us
PHCC
realtors,
or whatever.
We've got the National Association, we got the Nevada Association, we got the Las Vegas Association. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're very specific, and sometimes what I'll do is I'll explain that they're specific in, very narrow in the industry that they deal with.
Right.
Okay, whereas we represent every kind and size of independent business, but we don't represent any of the big businesses. So I think that's more like a horizontal coverage versus a vertical.
Right.
Okay, but if you're in the trade association, you're in there because you've got the education, you've got the representation for specific industry issues and stuff. And if you do both, you're kind of in that sweet spot. So I think trade associations are great.
Okay.
But also it's important to be an NFIB as well.
Right. Great. Okay, cool. So again, today was April 16th. This is The Retrade. Michael Mayer here with Julie Burke. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks.
Make sure you hit the buttons down there to subscribe, the little bell so you get notifications when we get new shows put up. And we'll see you later.
Stay safe.
Love you guys.